Now, y'all know that we are doing a series on the presidents and civil rights, primarily black civil rights, right? And I came across something that I think you might find interesting. It's an article written by Ibram X Kendi, the author of Stamped at the Beginning. He wrote an article for HuffPost titled The 11 Most Racist U.S. Presidents. What I found interesting is that his list includes many of the presidents that we have been reviewing. Let's take a look at his list and see if we should be adding a few to ours. So at number 11 is the 43rd President of the United States, George W. Bush. His greatest hits being Hurricane Katrina. Do you remember where you were when Kanye West looked into a television camera and said, George Bush doesn't care about black people? Do you remember where you were? Yeah? Because Bush's Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, publicly left thousands of stranded black folk behind after Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005. They said they couldn't get there. Meanwhile, reporters quickly reached the Gulf Coast. Yeah, I'm sure I could have gotten there quicker than FEMA did. Yeah, okay. But do we even want to talk about the lie that was the weapons of mass destruction that he perpetrated? Do we want to talk about that? Because that brought on an onslaught of hate upon our Middle Eastern siblings. Do you want to talk about that? No? Okay. But I thought I would mention it. Okay. Coming in at number 10 is the 30th President, John Calvin Coolidge. During the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927, white communities were saved. Black communities, not so much. And it gets better. Thousands of displaced blacks were forced to work for their rations under the weapons of the National Guard and area planters, leading to the mass beatings, lynchings, and violations of the black community. Coolidge also signed the Immigration Act of 1924, further restricting immigration from Southern and Eastern Europe, severely restricting African immigrants, and banned the immigration of Arabs and Asians. He says, America must be kept American. This was during his annual message to Congress in 1923. Dwight D Eisenhower, the 34th president, is holding it down at number 9. He did not endorse the landmark verdict of Brown versus the Board of Education, which said that separate but equal was a joke and told the South to desegregate their schools. He dragged his feet enforcing it and told Chief Justice Earl Warren he could understand why white Southerners wanted to make sure their sweet little girls are not required to sit in school alongside some big black buck. His words, not mine. True, he sent troops down to Arkansas to protect the Little Rock Nine, but it was under duress, and he considered it to be the most repugnant of all his presidential acts. 8 is for James K. Polk, and it's for his sincere belief in manifest destiny. Manifest destiny was the belief that the white man was to possess the whole of the continent which Providence has given us. I feel some kind of way every time I hear the words manifest destiny. It's disgusting. Okay, so he starts the Mexican-American War. Yeah. California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Wyoming, Utah, and Texas were all Mexico. I did that from memory, so I could be wrong. Let me know if I missed a state or added one that wasn't supposed to be there. I also think Montana should be in there too, but that could have been part of Louisiana. Regardless, Polk wanted all of that land. Yeah. Now, President Polk, being a lifelong enslaver, was the leader of the slave power faction, those who wanted to spread slavery into the new Southwestern Territory, and he fought the politicians and activists who wanted to ban slavery in the new territories. Polk wanted slavery to extend to the Pacific Ocean, and he looked away as white slaveholders and non-slaveholders stole the lands of the new group of Mexican American citizens. He's like, I see nothing. At 7, we have a familiar face. Woodrow Wilson. Y'all remember him, right? Yes. Wilson turned a blind eye when the federal government departments were resegregated. He was like, I see nothing. Black federal workers were fired, and those that remained faced separate and unequal workspaces, lunchrooms, and bathrooms. He refused to appoint black ambassadors to Haiti and Dominican Republic, as was custom. In 1915, he began the brutal two-decade U.S. occupation of Haiti, preventing Haitians from self-governing. And we can't forget that he screened the very racist film Birth of a Nation, something that I call a recruitment film for the KKK. Yeah. Now, number 6 might surprise a lot of you. Yeah. Well, unless you follow me and watch my videos, then it wouldn't surprise you. But number 6 is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Can you guess why? We've talked about some of it here. Well, let's start with the stuff we didn't talk about, like the internment of at least 100,000 Japanese Americans into camps during World War II. Something that wasn't done to, say, I don't know, Germans or Italians. Well, by this time they were considered white, so, a court case had already ruled that, the Japanese weren't white, so I guess that made a difference. Do I sound bitter? Good. He allowed the New Deal programs to be modified in a way that did not benefit Black Americans. You see, they excluded farmers and domestics, which were Southern blacks' primary jobs. It allowed housing discrimination and let black neighborhoods be coded as unsuitable for new mortgages. And it also allowed for relief to be administered locally, so monies would be in the hands of segregationists. Yeah, that meant that black communities remained buried in the Great Depression long after the 1930s, while these New Deal policies, combined with the GI Bill, exploded the size of the white middle class. Remember? We talked about this. Yeah. Tomorrow, we will pick up with number 5.